Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could truly understand how the other person feels and what they truly think in business settings? Well, what if Joe Navarro, one of the world's most renowned psychologists and the best-selling author of What Everybody is Saying here above, reveals the secret on how we can do exactly that? So first of all, why are we so good at lying, deceiving, or hiding the truth? Well, simply because words are directly connected to the neocortex part of the brain. And the neocortex basically is an area that we can control. Therefore, choose our words and not convey our true feelings. But with regards to nonverbal cues, with regards to body language, this comes from the limbic system of the brain, and therefore very, very, very difficult to hide the truth. And that's why reading nonverbal cues is an extremely powerful skill set that we can use and make great use of in business contexts, such as meetings, discussions, presentations, and of course, formal negotiations. All right, so let's look at 3 steps, 3 crucial steps that can help us read someone's body language and nonverbal cues accurately. So, step number 1 is to identify the baseline behavior. The baseline behavior. What is the baseline behavior? Well, it's simply when someone is in a normal, relaxed state. What are their facial expressions? How do they sit? How do they stand? The person is not in a positive state. They're not in a negative state. They're in their normal state. And once you can understand their baseline behavior, then you can start understanding the differences if they're going from normal to stressed or normal to negative. Simple point, extremely, extremely crucial, because if we skip this step, we will not read someone's body language accurately. Step number 2. Now here, once we've identified the baseline behavior, we know how they are in a relaxed state. We're going to look for what we call pacifying behaviors. Pacifying behaviors. Now there are so many pacifying behaviors out there, and some people talk about micro expressions and all that kind of stuff, but truly, in a business setting, when you're having discussions and negotiations, when you're having to think about what you need to say, plus read the other person, do you honestly believe that we can focus on micro expressions? To focus on micro expressions, we need video cameras, we need camcorders, and be able to go over and put our full thought process into reading just their nonverbal cues. So what are some simple ways and more practical ways to identify their pacifying behavior? The most common and the most powerful for us to use in a business context is simply when someone crosses their arms. When they're holding their arms like this, it's definitely telling us that they're either not buying our idea, that they disagree, or that they simply have a concern. Now, if we have clenched fists, of course, this is a position to defend ourselves, so this is actually even more negative than just crossing our arms. So if people cross their arms with clenched fists, this is a very negative state, and then once again, it helps us understand that they are pacifying themselves. Now, we also say that, when somebody rubs their eye, that means that they're not happy with what they're seeing. If somebody scratches their ear, that means that they're not happy with what they're hearing. But those pacifying behaviors are a little tricky. You would have to see it over and over. And it could simply be because they might have hay fever, they might have an allergy, so a little more difficult to truly identify if they're in a negative state or not. So that's why the arm crossing is the most powerful of non-pacifying behaviors in a business setting. So jumping into step number 3. Now we have identified the baseline behavior and we have identified a pacifying behavior. The key point is to call someone forth to get that concern out of the way, because the more concerns we can get out of the way, the more open they will be to change, to buying your product and services, or reaching a win-win situation. So what are some examples we can use to get someone to express their concern? Very simple. As soon as we find that pacifying behavior, that closed body language? Well, we can simply look at them and say, listen, I know this is not a perfect idea and your comments are highly appreciated. Or, it seems like you have some concerns. Are there some ideas that are unclear or some ideas that you would disagree with? Please let us know. Your feedback is highly appreciated. So simply wording it in a way so that after identifying the pacifying behavior, we can extract that negativity out of them and therefore solve the problem and increase our chances of closing the deal or making a win-win situation. So for those who haven't had the chance to see my previous video, you can click here above, and this basically talks about how to project our own body language in Q&As to look both confident and competent while we are handling these kind of stressful situations. So please have a look, just click up here. And for those who are in Tokyo and need support with their presentations, please hit me up on LinkedIn anytime, and I would be more than happy to help you out with your presentations and discussions or negotiations in the near future. In the meantime, I wish you all the best of the best, and thanks again for tuning in.